We're now going to hear the opinions of two different Republicans about this third indictment and arrest of the failed former president, Donald Trump. They are both individuals with whom I disagree politically, but one is very obviously much brighter than the other. I'm talking about Trump's own former Attorney General William Barr and then Trump's son, Eric Trump. I'll let you be the judge as to which of the two is brighter. We're going to start with William Barr. There was an incredible moment during William Barr's interview yesterday on CNN with CNN's Kaitlan Collins, during which Kaitlan Collins asks William Barr, have you spoken to special counsel Jack Smith? In other words, has William Barr himself in some sense cooperated with any of the investigations by the special prosecutor that ultimately led to two different arrests and indictments of Donald Trump? William Barr says, I'm not going to tell you that. And a very delightful but awkward silence ensues. Take a look at this.
And then the evidence that has come out since that, the press reports and the indictment and his lack of curiosity as to what the actual facts were, just leaves me. That's my personal opinion. We'll see if the government can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
You spoke to the January 6th Congressional Committee. Have you talked to Jack Smith's investigators?
I'm not going to get into that.
Okay. You came out on December 1st.
Now, with all of these situations, we're left to speculate. The initial reaction from most people would be, if he had nothing to do with Jack Smith's investigation, sort of like if I was asked, hey, did you speak to investigators in the Gilgo Beach murders? I would go, no, I have nothing to do with that. I don't know anything about it, and certainly not. Many people reacting to this by saying the answer must be yes, because if you had no involvement in an investigation, you would just say so. There's no reason to act this way unless the answer is yes. Yeah, I mean, that sounds reasonable to me, although it's William Barr and he's sort of a weird guy, and I guess we can't be totally sure. In general, the interview with Kaitlan Collins was quite interesting. Here, William Barr clarifies again, as if it wasn't on page 1 of the indictment, Trump is not being attacked for speech. That is not, he is not losing his First Amendment right here.
But I mean, when you do look at the indictment, do you think it's something you would have brought?
I think, I don't know if I would have approved the indictment, but in the sense I may have exercised discretion and not gone forward with the case. I'm also concerned about having this case going on during the election and diverting people's attention from the issues in the election. I'm also worried about, what the impact is if there are acquittals during the campaign. But as a legal matter, I don't see a problem with the indictment. I think that it's not an abuse. The Department of Justice is not acting to weaponize the department by proceeding against the president for a conspiracy to subvert the electoral process.
Which is what Trump's attorneys are saying, and they're also saying that he was just exercising his First Amendment right here. Do you think that's a valid argument?
Critical question.
No, I really don't think that's a valid argument because, as the indictment says, they're not attacking his First Amendment right. He can say whatever he wants. He can even lie. He can even tell people that the election was stolen when he knew better. But that does not protect you from entering into a conspiracy. All conspiracies involve speech, and all fraud involves speech. So, free speech doesn't give you the right to engage in a fraudulent conspiracy.
So that is crystal clear at this point in time. Crystal clear. Trump's First Amendment rights have not been taken away, attacked, or impinged upon in any way by this indictment. Secondly, what is William Barr's advice to Trump's attorneys? Being an attorney for Trump is not without its risks. Many Trump attorneys are unindicted co-conspirators in Trump's conspiracies. They have had to get their own attorneys. Remember MAGA, making attorneys get attorneys. Here's William Barr's advice to Trump's current lawyers.
What would you say? He just brought on 2 new attorneys, Todd Blanche in April, John Lara just now. I mean, given what has happened with other attorneys that he's had, what's your advice to his attorneys? Do you have any?
Get a lot of insurance. they'll be spending a lot of time themselves at some point, before a grand jury.
Yeah. Uh, good advice. I have to tell you, good advice. However, I want to remind everybody that even though William Barr, of course, is telling some uncontroversial truths right now, he still continues to say, if it came down to a Democrat and Trump, even though I think Trump has nothing to do, should have no involvement with the presidency, I'm not going to rule out voting for the guy.
People would be surprised to hear you say that you don't think Biden should be president, but I think people would be surprised that you won't say that about Trump, given, I mean, for
No,
you
I've
personally,
said I don't think he should be near the Oval Office, and that's why.
but that you wouldn't vote for him in 2024. I
I'm
mean,
just
he's
saying,
called you a coward, lazy, gutless pig, rhino. He's called you all of these
some
things.
other ones. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. That's just a handful of the ones that I pulled. I mean, what do you say to people who look at what you say about Trump, your criticisms of him, that you don't think he belongs near the Oval Office, but that you don't rule out voting for him in 2024?
Because my view is that I have to wait and see what the entire record is, what comes out, and so forth. But my view is that if you feel that one of two people is going to be president, in other words, there's no third option, one of two people are going to be president, then at that point you have to, do your soul searching as to which one you think would do least harm.
Now, what's incredible about this, and we'll listen to the last few seconds, is Barr has said Trump has no business being near the Oval Office. He's a danger to the country, et cetera. But I guess what he's saying is Joe Biden's even worse.
To the country. And that's the analysis that I would do.
Would you ever vote for a third party candidate? That's kind of something floating around.
Well, again, it's hypothetical. It depends. If I would not throw my vote away on someone who had no chance of winning just so I could feel morally virtuous and say, well, at least I didn't vote for him. My view is I want to participate in a decision. If one of two is going to make it, I want to participate in that decision. If there was a third party that actually had a chance and they were consistent with my philosophy, or superior to the other two, I would consider that.
All right, there you go. So basically, William Barr, despite all of the horrible things he said about Trump and Trump being uniquely unqualified to be near the Oval Office, I guess he's saying Biden's worse, which is really hard to believe. Last thing on this, William Barr commenting on whether Trump knew he lost the election.
Do you think he knew that he lost the election?
Do I personally believe that? Yeah, at first I wasn't sure, but I have come to believe that he knew well that he had lost the election. And now, what I think is important is the government has assumed the burden of proving that. The government, in their indictment, takes the position that he had actual knowledge that he had lost the election and the election wasn't stolen through fraud. And they're going to have to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt.
Which is a high bar, of course.
That's a high bar. Now, that leads me to believe that we're only seeing a tip of the iceberg on this.
You think Jack Smith has more?
Oh, yes. I would believe he has a lot more.
And I think that is almost certainly the case. So William Barr saying some uncontroversial truths, but still saying Biden's worse, which is getting very difficult to believe from these people. When it comes to taking care of my skin and hair, I never really knew how to have a daily routine. I definitely don't buy into the bogus miracle creams and stuff that's out there. That's where our partner Geology changed the game for me. Geology is a 23-time award-winning skin, hair, and body care company that just gives you simple, effective skincare and hair care routines customized to you with the basic ingredients that dermatologists recommend because they're the few ingredients that actually work. From their affordable skin revitalizing serum with vitamins C and E and ferulic acid, their awesome line of deodorant, body wash, and shampoo for a healthy scalp, which I've been loving. Geology has you covered. Geology has been featured in places like Men's Health and Esquire. You can read the glowing reviews online. And right now, for a limited time, Geology is hooking you up with an amazing offer. You'll get 70% off their award-winning skincare trial set, plus 30% off any add-on products of your choice. Go to davidpakman.com/skin or use the QR code on the screen and use the code PAKMAN70 at checkout. The link is down below.